Hello everyone, welcome to the Horsemen Hangout for September the 16th of the year 2014. I am your host, Mr. Justin. Joining us, as always, are three other great horsemen, equally as great as Mr. Justin. We have Mr. Z from the Horsemen Hangout, right there, flashing the 4. We have returning to the show, we missed him last week, Patrick, at the Ryan Patrick on Twitter.
How y'all doing?
And last but certainly not least, Mr. Lane, sir, and his boogie board that says the SunTrust Horseman Hangout.
Yes, it is. So, heck, why not use SunTrust as a sponsor tonight? You know, hey, we have to talk about it. You know, this is the SunTrust Horseman Hangout, so I have to do it.
I think you're missing an E in right there in the Horseman.
Oh, well. It's a typo.
It's a typo. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the
As our friend Stephen Page would say, that's a botch.
Is Steve's computer fixed yet? I know he's having some issues with his phone and some health stuff, but hopefully Steve's getting better. Oh, the TV's making. Hopefully Steve's better and his phone's better, so he can come back on the show soon. But anyway, all right, kicking things off. Why not get into that only SunTrust Park? Now, the Atlanta Braves, for a long time, were in the city of Atlanta at a stadium that myself and Rue visited at the Turner Field, named after, of course, Ted Turner.
I've also been there.
Nicknamed the Ted. Mr. Z has been there. You know, good stadium for when it was built. It was originally, I think, built for the Olympics. That was in Atlanta. But now they are moving to the suburbs of Atlanta into SunTrust Park, it will be known as. And we saw some renderings today. It looks like, you know, one of the new stadiums that they've been building. It looks a lot like Minnesota's Target Field. So anyway, I wanted to get Mr. Lane's thoughts on SunTrust Park. Is he excited? Is a trip to Atlanta in store for Mr. Lane, sir, with SunTrust Park?
You know what? Absolutely. I mean, it's going to take me a little bit of time on whenever I can do it, but let's just get to the point here of SunTrust Park. I mean, it's going to be potentially a lot of upside. It's going to be an all-year operation. It's just going to be more than baseball. It's going to be entertainment. It's going to be residents. It's going to be stores. It's going to be the whole enchilada, quite frankly, for that area. And they're supposed to do like post-game concerts and whatnot for Cobb County and whatnot, but here's another reason why they are doing it in my eyes, and I thought about this, but Turner Field, and one of the complaints I get from Brave fans that I've spoken with on Facebook is that the Turner Field.
They are.
Well, Turner Field is, you know, very dark, and another noticeable thing.
Very dark.
When Turner Field was built, like in the mid '90s, '97. I mean, I was a sophomore / junior. Ryan was in the same grade as me, but the point of it is, it was a very dark ballpark, and it was in a dangerous neighborhood. The thing lacked a lot of stuff. It lacked, I mean, beyond the Braves in Turner Field, it lacked like the restaurants. They only had like one restaurant. That's it. That's outside Turner Field, quite frankly.
We have that barbecue joint out there in the field.
Right.
The problem also with Turner Field was that it's all enclosed. So if you're walking around the concourse, you can't see the field unless you go out the openings for the section. And if you've ever been to Atlanta in the summer, golly, does it get hot. So Turner Field, you baked in that place.
Golly is right. And then the new stadium, as Mr. Lane mentioned, will be in Cobb County, Georgia. Mr. Rue TV, anybody you could think of that was, if you want to take a trip down there one day, would you ever take a trip down to that county in Georgia?
Well, I know you're referencing, you know, the big boss man's home and whatnot, but to me, I don't know if Cobb County, Georgia is going to be just like, you know, the old town. You know, I don't want to visit any town that's dark and dangerous, to be honest. So dark and dangerous, I'm out, pal. If you can guarantee me my safety, I'd take a trip to Cobb County. Sure, pal, sure.
There you have it, Mr. Rue TV, Mr. Lane, sir, and Mr. Z will all be traveling to Cobb County, Georgia come 2017. Mr. Lane, if you could name two Braves Nah, that's an easy question. I was going to say name 2 Braves that are going to be on the team when the park opens, but obviously I think Craig Kimbrell will be there. I think Jason Hayward would still be there. I think Justin Upton's going to be a free agent by then. So anyway, besides that, oh, and of course,
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie
Yes.
Freeman and your shortstop,
And Charlton Simmons.
Anderson Simmons, of course, yeah.
Will the Braves' awful signing of B.J. Upton still be there by then? That's the
What an
question.
awful signing. They're having a disappointing year, but the good news is for the Braves over the Phillies is the Braves have a lot of young guys, young talent that are still finding their way. The Phillies have guys that, well, we all know that story. Anyway, before we move on, does anybody want to throw something out there about the MLB pennant race? Because I'll talk. A lot of people at work, a lot of my friends are not excited about the MLB pennant race because the Phillies aren't in it and the Yankees aren't in it. But I for one still love baseball, and I'm still looking forward to seeing. Number one, I want to see Mike Trout in his first playoffs and see how he does.
Yep.
But baseball's the playoffs are always good to watch.
I think it's going to be
tuning in no matter who it is.
Sorry, Justin. I think it's going to be very wide open now because you're going to have no Yankees, probably no Red Sox. Kansas City might have a shot in there.
That'll be fun to root for.
I mean, Kansas City, they haven't made the playoffs in nearly 30 years. A lot of people think the Angels are the favorites to probably, win. But if there is a sleeper, and I have to say this, that people might not underestimate, I think the Seattle Mariners, if they make the playoffs, they could make some noise. They have, if you look at the winning percentage, they are the best road team in all of Major League Baseball, winning percentage-wise. I think they have over 40 road wins this year.
Yeah.
And if they get the second wild card spot, they have to travel to the road. The first wild card has to host the game. The second wild card is the road team. So keep that in mind.
And I'll stop you there. I think the thing to keep in mind, too, is, as they say, pitching wins championships, and they do have a solid staff in the bullpen and in starting rotation, Iwakuma. But anyway, Z, do you have any thoughts on the pennant races here?
I am really rooting for a good postseason, and I really don't want the Washington Nationals to win the World Series.
Of course.
If anyone else, I don't care.
What's the Nats nickname, Mr. Lane, that you always say?
Nats, I think it is, the Nats.
No, isn't it like something to do with their hats or something?
The curly W's, the Walgreens.
I think if it's up to the Dodgers. I think if the Dodgers get the best record in the NL, the Nationals will lose to the Cardinals in the first round. However, I think if the Nationals get the number 1 seed, I think they will go to the NLCS, perhaps the World Series. But I as all my Horsemen friends know, I really hate the Washington Nationals. And actually, it's funny. I have I gamble a little bit with Major League Baseball, and I have 2 bets out tonight. One on the Washington Nationals to beat Mr. Lane's Atlanta Braves, and one for the New York Yankees to beat the Tampa Bay Rays. And there are the 2 teams that I hate most in Major League Baseball, and I actually need them to win for me tonight. So,
gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Mr. Lane, I noticed your expression there. What are your thoughts on Mr. Z being the Pete Rose of the Horsemen Hangout?
Well, first off, I just want to go to the National League thoughts of the playoffs. I think the Cardinals are the team to beat in the National League. The Dodgers and Nationals right now are all hyped. The Cardinals are the favorites, like them or not. I think the Cardinal way will prevail in the National League. Enough said. That's all.
All right. Okay, let's move on here. Mr. Root TV, I'll go to you. Okay, new topic. We all saw the unveiling of the iPhone, the iWatch, Apple Watch, the iPhone 6 Plus, but we also got a little treat in our clouds. We got a little treat from Tim Cook and the Apple gang. We got the new U2 album. So I know Rue got it. I'm going to ask Rue, what did you do with that album? Did you download it? Did you put peanut butter on that apple? Or do you like U2? What'd you do? Did you even know that you have the U2 album? Do you know that you have it?
This is the first I'm hearing of it. Well, I have
Get your phone out right now. Get your phone out.
Okay, I have it.
Go to your artists. You're connected to Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Go to your music, go to your artists, and look for U2. Is U2 there?
I'm scrolling down right now.
Scroll.
Yeah, what the hell?
See? They gave it as a free gift for the unveiling of it's the new U2 album. So it's for free if you want it, but a lot of people were getting angry because a lot of people don't want U2 or don't like U2, and they didn't want it automatically downloaded.
Well, how did U2 make money off the? I guess Apple paid U2
Yeah.
a huge
Yeah,
chunk.
they have a contract together, dating back for a while. I think the first iPod commercials featured U2, but they have a contract together, Apple and U2.
See it right
I got
there.
the new album. The song about Joey Ramone, I think it's #1 on the album, is pretty
Yeah.
good. Other than that, I haven't really listened to it, but I like U2, and if they're going to give me free music, I'm okay with it.
Is that
Miracle.
the Joey Ramone song?
What's
Yeah.
that?
Is that the Joey Ramone song?
Yeah, Miracle of Joy. Really interesting. I had no idea that was on my phone.
Mr. Lane, sir, U2, buying or selling U2's new album?
I'll buy it. Why not? You know, although I don't listen much. I mean, they're an excellent group, excellent band. They say, and you know, they're pretty good. So I'll buy them. Why not?
All right, can I get a rock on? Little rock.
Rock on! Yeah.
There it is. All right, so moving on here, we'll get back to some sports talk, maybe a little bit of wrestling, but right now I want to go on to a serious note. This past week was the 13th anniversary, I believe, of the terrorist attacks, 9/11. We all were alive for that one. We all can remember where we were. I'll start it off at Mr. Roo TV. Do you remember anything about that day? And
Well, I remember exactly where I was at. I was in a college class, and it was a video production class, and I was presenting. I was in the middle of presenting a commercial that I wrote about matter of fact, you were in it, Justin. You were in it, and it was called Power Muscle. It was I in the basement like lifting weights, and it was a product. You take the Metamucil, and not only do you shit smooth, but it gives you strength and protein or something. It was a lame commercial I did for my class, and in the middle of the presentation, like everyone stopped, and it's not funny what happened, but it's the progression of it. Everyone stopped and said, "I just heard the World Trade Center got attacked," and everybody was like, "Okay," and there was dead silence. And then I continued presenting my Power Muscle commercial to everyone, which died. No one laughed. Of course, everyone was thinking about the tragedy that just happened as I completed pitching the commercial script that I had just written in 2001. But one thing I remember about that day vividly is driving home. The college closed early, and I'm driving home listening to Howard Stern really, open up, and obviously he was at the time in New York on free radio, and
You stayed on all day.
yeah, he was on all day, yeah, and yeah, just a sad time. That was a very weird, strange time to be in America because you didn't know. I mean, like at the time, you didn't know if it was going to happen again. I mean, obviously it happened, in a couple different locations, but you didn't know if it was going to happen again next week, the following week.
where you didn't know where.
Scary,
Yeah.
Very scary time.
Yeah. ZBoy323. What are your? I know you were a freshman in high school, as I was. I was at Delsey. You were at Sacred Heart. What do you remember about 9/11?
I was in my my Algebra 1 class, and we turned on the TV when the first plane had hit the tower, and I had looked down like at my notebook or something, and I missed the second plane hit the second tower live. Everyone else saw it, and everyone gasped, "Did you see that? The plane just hit the tower," and I missed it. I happened to look down or something like that, but yeah, it was a weird day. Every class we went, almost every teacher had it on, made us watch the coverage, and it's something that our generation will always remember. We weren't alive for Pearl Harbor or Vietnam or anything like that. I mean, we were young for Desert Storm, but this was, this is something that'll stay with us for a while. It's tragedy, and I just remember it being very weird. Like Rue said, it was just a very weird. Howard Stern was on the radio all day, and that's what I remember my parents telling me. My parents are big Stern listeners, and I think my mom had like a doctor's appointment or something. She was listening to Stern like all day, but it's just a eerie day and a day we'll always remember.
All right, and I will now get Mr. Lane Sir's takes on 9/11. Where were you? How did you feel about it? What do you remember?
Well, I remember watching it on television actually at home at the time, and I saw the breaking news story, and I had talked about it with my late dad at the time, and I was just telling, and I had a feeling that this attack was on purpose too, and it was. It was awful. It was on purpose. It was very disgusting, as far as I seen it anyway. But it was awful. It was, I saw the news coverage basically all day on it, and I did see the second plane hit the second tower live when it happened, and it was awful. It was just very depressing, very awful now. And it's in New York, and I know they built the Freedom Tower recently, but it's just not the same without the Twin Towers, because those Twin Towers symbolize New York. I remember taking a photo of the Twin Towers back, 20 years ago when we went to the Statue of Liberty when I was in middle school.
Now, did you go on the trip with Mr. Roo TV, or was
No. This was with one of my middle school teachers at the time. It was a science trip, I think it was.
Okay.
For I think it was Ellis Island at the time.
Alice Island?
Yes, Ellis Island, and I remember, the World Trade Center. It was in like a mist and a fog at the time, and I remember taking an old photo of it. I think I still have it at the house. So beautiful picture, and but like I said, it was a disgusting attack as far as I'm concerned. I watched it on TV. I was in my bedroom. Excuse me, in my bedroom at the time, and that's it was awful.
Yep.
Attack, man.
And I had a similar story, being in school like Mr. Z. I won't bore you with that one, but I do remember just some of the images of 9/11. One of the things I think helped America and helped everybody was at the time in September, football was on too, but baseball was the one that really helped us get back on track. And I'll always remember Mr. Z sent me a link to it.
Yeah, I posted every year.
Yeah, Harry Kalas welcoming fans back, the Phillies fans back from 9/11. He was getting choked up. It still makes me get choked up watching it. And then also at that game, I remember two things: Scott Rowland hitting 2 home runs, and I remember when they sang the national anthem and they had that shot on Larry Boa, and Boa just had tears running down his eyes. So that was like a lasting image I always remember.
Absolutely,
So.
yeah,
And also the poem by Jack Buck in St. Louis, "Should We Be Here?" That was pretty cool too.
To touch on that a little bit, yeah, I mean it's I post that Harry Kalas video every year, and it's very poignant. For us as baseball fans and Americans, Harry Kalas's little intro there to that game was wonderful, and like I said, Boa crying is definitely a lasting image. And Justin, you remember from the 9/11 on at the Vet. There was a guy who used to walk around like the third ring of the stadium.
The flag.
The entire game with the flag.
Yep, I remember that guy. I don't know what happened to him.
I remember going to games after 9/11 and seeing that guy there, and it really tied the nation together, and it's definitely a lasting image in my mind.
Absolutely. All right. So there we go. Every year we remember 9/11, probably until we die. So anyway, moving on here. Let's get into a little trivia, if we shall. Rue?
Yeah.
What was that face you were making?
I was just biting my finger there.
All right. Rue, I just want to ask you, how is our Horsemen Hangout mascot, Biscotti? I know last week you were off the show. I think you took her to the vet.
Well, she's right behind me right now in her crate, taking
Speaking of you not being on the show last week, I don't know if you got a chance to watch the show back, but we had a special guest, a guy by the name of Smiley Gibbons.
I did get a chance, and that was the car wreck. I don't know why whoever invited him, but I had nothing to say about that really. Back to your original question of Biscotti, we took her to University of Penn today in Philly, and took care of it. She got some new medicine. And she's doing good. So right now she's a little tired because she had a big day. So
cool. So you're in the city today? You drove to Penn?
Drove to Penn, yeah. The vet hospital at Penn.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were near me. I was working in the city today. So anyway.
Oh yeah, right. That was easy to get to. Exit 347, I think, or 49 off B.
That's right near cousin Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, anyway, trivia. Okay. So we began the show talking about the Atlanta Braves' new stadium, SunTrust Park. So we're gonna do a little ballpark trivia or stadium trivia, if you will.
I like that.
All right, I'm ready for this.
Here we go. We got Mr. Lane and Mr. Z rubbing their hands together. Mr. Roo TV. I don't know if he's got a shot in this one. So we got two trivia Goliaths, if you will, and Roo is just a trivia David. He's David. So anyway, no offense, Roo, but you're facing
David Hero.
You're facing two of the best, not David here. Okay. So I got my pad here. 5 questions. Winner take all. I will start. These aren't the easiest ones. Some are easy, some are hard. Okay. And to shout it out. Question number 1. What?
Wrigley Field.
I'll wait for the laughter to subside. Okay. Which major league stadium has the least capacity in the majors?
Tropicana Field.
PNC Park.
That is correct, Roo TV. Tropicana Field. Wow. You said that in a matter of seconds. I will never underestimate you again, Roo TV.
Well, I'm not a baseball park expert by any means, but I was at that stadium, and it felt like I was inside the Cumberland Mall.
You know, I was surprised to see that was the lowest capacity. It used to be Fenway Park, but they added seats to it, and it's
that was my guess, but I got beaten to the punch by Mr. Root TV.
Your guess was Tropicana or Fenway?
My guess was Fenway.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah. It used to be Fenway until they added the seats. So, all right. So Roo has 1. Everybody else has 0. All right. Question number 2. Now this is going to be the fastest finger because I feel like a lot of you guys are going to get this. What venue hosted the largest WrestleMania ever?
Detroit.
Superdome.
Oh, damn.
That is correct.
Silverdome.
Wow, I don't know how to get. So Roo said Detroit, which was correct. Z said the Superdome, the Silverdome.
The Pontiac Silverdome was the one. I don't know if it's right, but the Pontiac Silverdome was the
Superdome
one.
or Silverdome?
It's the Silverdome. The Superdome was the one that they just had, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I said Superdome. I am incorrect.
TV is right then. It is the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan.
Silverdome.
93,000 to see WrestleMania 3. Anybody remember that main event?
It's a side note. If you guys watch back on the network, Hogan comes out at the beginning of this year's Mania, and which was at the Superdome, and he calls it the Silverdome, and he botched it. But
I remember that.
Yeah, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah, Hogan's return when he's on the mic, he hasn't been as crisp as he was back then, but shaking.
He's like 61, so
yeah, when he was on TNA, it's not like he hasn't been doing it. He's been doing it. I don't know.
I think maybe it's the big stadium gets nerves maybe.
I guess, yeah. He's Hulk Hogan, All right.
You know what else? Okay, all right. I also he's given instructions back in TNA. He kind of ran the show.
Yeah. Okay. Hulk Hogan, if you're watching, we miss you. We love you. You're not watching though. Okay. Question number 3. You guys need this one. Root TV cannot get this. I don't think he's gonna get this one. What venue will the 2015 Super Bowl be held at?
MetLife Stadium.
Levi Stadium.
University of Phoenix Stadium.
Correct, Z. That is this year's Super Bowl, University of Phoenix Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona. I believe Levi's Field is next year, Mr.
Oh, doggone it.
Or is Dallas next year?
No, it's not Dallas next year.
Okay. Does Dallas have a Super Bowl coming?
No, they haven't gotten one since the year the Packers won.
Okay, never mind. That was a great year, Z, by the way. Or no, wait. The recent Packers one or the one before that?
The recent Packers won.
Oh, I forgot that was in Dallas. Never mind. Okay. Question number 4. What historic team used to play their games in Ebbets Field?
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers is correct, Mr. Lane, sir. That's good baseball knowledge there. And, of course, they moved out to L.A. to play for Walter O'Malley there. And Mr. Lane, sir, with 1. So the score is Roo 2, Z 1, Lane 1. going into the fifth and final question. It is a closest to the pin question, and here is question number 5. Question number 5 is the largest stadium by capacity in college football is Michigan Stadium.
The Big House.
In Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. My question to you, closest to the pin, is what is the capacity of that stadium? And no Googling. I will start with Mr. Z.
96,500.
Z says 96,500. Mr. Roo TV, a guess?
74. 74.
74,000. Mr. Lane, sir, a guess?
I was gonna say 107,000.
107,000. The correct answer for capacity in Michigan Stadium is 109,901. Mr. Lane, within 2,000. Very impressive. There you go, Mr. Lane. However, you did not surpass Mr. Roo TV for tonight's trivia. You have 2, Roo has 2, and Mr. Zorzi has 1, I believe. Yeah. So we're going to have to do a trivia off between you and Mr. Roo. So whoever's paying attention right now, please give me the name of Delsey's Stadium.
John Obert Field.
Oh, man.
John Obert Field is correct.
No,
once again, best 3 in the Delsey.
That immortal sign along the track in the field there just popped into my head, and right as it popped into my head, Mr. Lane blurted it out.
Woo!
By the way, Mr. Lane, you like my shirt? It's a
What you
PJ
got on?
Willingham shirt. You see that?
I remember that shirt. Yeah, they got
I used to work there for a summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kept the shirt.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, well that does it for trivia. Now back on
Mr. Lane, wasn't there a girl that used to work there from our class that you used to thought was a...
As a matter of fact, we'll talk about that off air, buddy. Let's move on with the show, pal.
Whoa.
pal, buddy, very forceful
That
pronoun.
was a touchy subject there.
Yeah, Roo, buddy, pal.
All right, move on. Move along there.
Roo, I just wanted to say, if any more uncalled for questions like that to any of the other horsemen, and I have the ability to eject you, so you are aware of this, right?
Yeah, well, you're the guy who invited that crazy lunatic last week, and now you're going to eject me for just asking a civilized question?
You know, I think it was over the lines, and this is something we talk about off the air, so you knew that. So
ask Mr. Lane his thoughts on that lady last week.
What do you think of the lady?
That was a crazy lady last week. That's all I have to say. Very crazy lady.
Ms. Gibbons.
Yeah, she was crazy. Entertaining, but crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll see more of that crazy lady in the weeks to come. Hopefully not, but you never know. So anyway, moving on to other topics, more oblivious topics. NFL Week 2, we saw all 3 of our teams win. Mr. Z, I wanna talk to you a little bit. On Twitter, you seem to dislike the Philadelphia Eagles fans just a little bit. Just a little bit, though. What is your issue now with the Philadelphia Eagles fans?
Have you ever gone on social media during an Eagles game? Did you go on social media last night during
Absolutely, yes.
You happen to notice a pattern from as the game progressed?
Yes.
Where many Eagles fans, and this is where I Mr. Rue had told me that the same Eagles fans are Phillies fans. It's not true, because I have friends that just watch the Eagles, and they are extremely, extremely dumb, and they don't comment on baseball. While the game was going on, the Eagles were yet again in another hole, and everyone was jumping ship. They were, again, calling for the benching of Nick Foles, saying that, we got to get going and we got to bench Foles, and they were bailing as fast as they could when the Eagles were losing again. But then all of a sudden, the Eagles get bailed out by the referees, not once but twice, and the tides change, and the ebbs and flows of the game. It's like when the Eagles are bad, they're like the worst team in the world. But when the Eagles are winning and win the game, they're winning the Super Bowl running away. There's no realism in being an Eagles fan. There's just extreme over the top euphoria and ridiculous conjecture and
orgasms.
yeah, it's disgusting because they're uneducated.
All right, well, you say what you will, but let me tell you something. You look at the top of those standings right now, and those EAGLES Eagles are on top of that NFC East there.
That's true, and they're a good team. They'll be there at the end of the year, but I don't think they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders like many of the fans that have been calling in the WIP, many of the hosts on WIP have been clamoring about.
Yeah, well, I think it's two. They would be Super Bowl contenders if, one, Foles looked a little bit better because he looks like very shaky to me, and two, they have the wideouts that can win some games, but I don't think they have a great offense, but I don't know if you're going to get it done with Macklin and Riley Cooper.
I mean, their wideouts are bad, and last night, if you watched the game, I'm sure you did, the Colts lines, both O-line and D-line, are terrible. They're going to be facing teams that have a pass rush and teams that also can protect the quarterback, and Foles had all day and a half to throw yesterday. There was no pass rush at all. If this rush, he at least gets sacked 5 or 6 times yesterday, and that changes the complexion of the game. Same thing with the O-line. The Eagles' defense is not very good, and they got pressure on Luck the entire time because they're playing with backup linemen, much like the Eagles were. But there's a lot of over-the-top Eagles love going on right now, rightfully so. They're 2-2, but they won't win the Super Bowl, and I think they just need to be a little bit more realistic about it. That's all.
All right, fair enough.
And also they'll refuse to admit that they got the benefit of the doubt for 2 calls yesterday, which changed the entire complexion of the game.
I definitely admit that that horse collar call was awful, but the Eagles also last week.
The interception was worse. The interception was worse than the horse collar.
I've seen refs miss that. I know they've been calling it a lot in the preseason. I've seen them miss that. The horse collar, I felt like the guy should have missed. But either way, we got the W. Root TV, is that a new special guest?
I'll give you the Hummels under the bed.
And Mr. Lane.
Well, anyways, just for my football thoughts, the Eagles are playing solid football. Let's face it, but they got Washington next week, and let's see how they do against the backup quarterback in Kirk Cousins. I mean, I know they beat the Eagles and Washington just beat the Jaguars, but the Washington Redskins looked solid last week, and I mean, I'll be real about it, but Washington looked good. But I mean, it should be an interesting matchup. But the Eagles, yeah, I have to agree with Z. They are the team to beat in the NFC East, but I like I said, I think Green Bay's better than the Eagles.
Seattle.
I would say Seattle as well.
I still think New Orleans is better.
New Orleans, yeah, despite 0-2, but they lost one of my fantasy running backs, Mark Ingram, for a month because he had a broken arm, which that stinks because he was beginning to run the ball real good for the Saints. Although the Saints are more of a passing dynamic team, not a running dynamic team. That's what the Saints are. Drew Brees likes to throw the ball a lot. So.
Yeah, they also haven't had a home game all year. Wait till they get into the Dome this week. They'll light them up. I
was a little shocked that Cleveland beat them last week, by the way. And one of the more impressive upsets, and I have to bring this one up, the Chicago Bears beating the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday night. I mean, who would have thunk it? Because
I'll tell you who, Mr. John Sturgeon. He was with that team through.
Oh, speaking of social media, you ever want an entertaining person to follow during a football game on social media? Follow John Sturgeon because he had the Bears 6 feet under by the fourth quarter. I hope he's watching this because I'll rip on him. He had the Bears 6 feet under, dead and buried, and then he's the biggest Bears fan in the world after they win.
I want to read Rue. I don't know if Rue saw this, but I want to read him the tweet that he wrote last weekend when they got beaten. It was one of the funniest, most...
Well, he had one that said, like, that Cutler, during the game, that Cutler and Trestman can burn in hell or something like that.
That was the one.
He's a passionate...
I always think of my good friend, John Sturgeon is a pretty nice guy. And, of course, these football players are not trying to lose, but, not trying to be mean guys or anything. It was last week, wasn't it, Z?
Yeah, it was during the 49ers game.
All right, so it was about 7 days ago. I just want to make.
7 days ago. It was Sunday night. It's Tuesday.
Well, here's. Oh, okay, you're right. Here's one. It says outstanding moving the Leftovers HBO finale. What an opening for a terrific show. Hashtag leftovers. Never mind, that was the wrong one.
If you guys didn't know this, the Cleveland Browns are facing the Ravens in Week 3, and I just want to bring up a few things that I've been thinking about, honestly. The Ravens, if you haven't noticed, are a very physical, aggressive group that they're very, very stingy giving up points. The only touchdown they allowed the last game was a 77-yard throw by Andy Dalton to A.J. Green. So offensively, both teams, I'm talking about the Ravens and the Browns, both teams had effective running games, but Baltimore, all right, I'm reading off a cue card, sorry.
Wait a minute. Thank you for that, Rue. I think what I'm seeing is I think Mr. Sturgeon deleted that tweet.
I think he did too because I can't find it.
Somebody must have something. I should have screen capped it. Rue, I swear to God, it said the Jay Cutler the Bears can burn in hell.
I have an image of them burning in hell and
you die.
Sturgeon. I have an image of them burning in hell and Sturgeon looking down on them, grinning and smiling.
You know what? Speaking of that, he actually retweeted a lot of stuff about NXT. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I heard it was a really great show. Rue or anybody want to chime in?
Before we get into wrestling, I just want to, Mr. Lane got his digs in on me last week. I just want to know what Mr. Lane has to say about my Cowboys. They whooped up on the Tennessee Titans. They weren't even favored to win that game. Mr. Lane, what do you got to say now? You like to?
Well, congratulations for beating the Titans, man. Congratulations for beating the Titans. See, the Titans, I was a little shocked that the Titans beat the Kansas City Chiefs, to be honest with you, because they won in Kansas City. And I think the Chiefs are 0-2 now because the Broncos just beat them last week. And then another upset I have to bring up is how about the San Diego Chargers beating the Seattle Seahawks. But the Seahawks, they're an average road team, but they're an excellent home team. So it'll be interesting to see how the Broncos and Seahawks play next week. In the NFL, it would be interesting. So
Clint Dempsey just scored a dirty goal to give Seattle the lead in extra time. In case any of y'all are wondering.
Oh,
I didn't even know Clint Dempsey was on Seattle. But anyway, Rue, did you catch NXT?
I caught most of it, and from what I saw, the guys busted their butts. Very, very good. Honorable mention to Sami Zayn, who is a.k.a. El Generico back in ROH. Did an awesome job. He came a little bit short in winning the title in the Fatal 4 match. Adrian Neville is their champion, who I like to call Aaron Neville. Mr. Lane, you know Aaron Neville, right? The singer?
Heard of him, yeah. But yeah.
Right?
Well, anyway, very good, very solid show. The future is bright, but unfortunately, being a strong wrestler can only get you so far when you're in the hands of morons and idiots who are running the show like they are in WWE. So I don't have any faith in anyone from NXT going on and making money because the creative team sucks.
Did Kevin Steen
no,
be on that?
No.
I heard that Japanese guy made his first.
Oh, yeah, he was back. That's another thing. I did see that, too. Steen was not there, but he was backstage. Kenta came out, the guy that, the big star from Japan, who, the guy that Punk was inspired by for the GTS. He stole that move from Kenta, but still gave him credit for it, of course. Kenta changed his name to, and you're going to think this is kind of funny because we all remember Nomo. He changed his name to Hideo Arabi or something. Hideo Arabi or something.
Arabu?
Hideo Arabu or something like that. Yeah, and all I can think of is his name's Hideo. The only other Hideo I can think of is Nomo. So anytime he wrestles, I'm going to think of Nomo.
Nomo.
So, but he did a little angle with him where a tag team called, I believe, the Ascension came out to attack him. And, the NXT is more about the wrestling. The angles are just kind of cookie cutter and just there to pass the, But the wrestling was awesome. Yes, good show.
Rue,
breaking news here on the MLB Network.
Wait a minute, Zorzy, what'd you say?
Where's Sami Callihan?
I believe they are repackaging him. Last I heard, and I believe he was also injured. So, but he's still there.
Oh,
He's still
brother.
under contract.
Breaking news on the MLB Network to the Braves and Phillies fans: the Nationals are celebrating. I believe, is it the NL East title, or is it just to clinch in the playoff berth? I'm not sure.
They won the division because the magic number was down to 2 going into tonight's game.
There's Ian Desmond about to enjoy another man's private parts.
Oh, brother.
There you go.
Buddy, this is that was the sound of private parts.
Is that a yawn?
That was a yawn. I was stretching.
Okay. Speaking of stretching, do you guys do any calisthenics or any? I'm looking to get a new stretching or workout exercise. Mr. Lane, do you do anything for yourself?
Not lately though. I mean, I'm just stretching out a little bit. You know?
How about that?
I know. You once used to do the fall. I used to see on Facebook the Forest Grove Park. Used to walk around there.
Yeah, I used to, but ever since I moved, I have not. It's been a little while since I've walked there, so.
Understandable. Understandable. All right. Well, I was gonna say next is I saw something from the Horsemen on message. Apparently, WWE 2K15 something is up. It's gonna be delayed. The reason for that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Root TV. What he heard.
Well, the what I heard was that CM Punk's lawyers sent the WWE a very thick packet of legal documents saying that it is most definitely illegal for them to portray CM Punk in WWE 2K15. And if so, royalties are not being given. I think it's because he's not under contract anymore.
Right.
They don't have to pay him royalties. But I think WWE's logic was that since they put him into the game in an actual mode, I don't know what the hell the mode was called, but it was something where you can do a Cena Punk kind of career mode or storyline mode, something. Yeah. And whatever. They made that. He was in the game. You saw his picture on the game. They even had a promo picture with him. But now the news is that WWE 2K15 has been delayed until later in November, about a month later, I believe. And the word that I'm getting is that it was because of Punk. They're taking him out of the game. So.
Well, I had heard something different. It very well could be that they're removing CM Punk from the game, but WWE 2K15 was only delayed on two of the next-gen platforms, on Mr. Lane's PS4 and my Xbox One. It'll still come out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 on the regular release date. It could very well be that they're removing CM Punk from the next-gen games and not from the other games, but from what I heard, and this was not from a wrestling website, so they probably don't have all the background information. I had heard it was a delay in the how the game looks for the next gen stuff.
I think a lot of it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you're right, Z. But that could be true.
I don't think a technology like an IGN would have the background information to know exactly what's going on between WWE and CM Punk. Yeah, I totally believe that CM Punk backstory. I definitely think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and it's strange because he left WWE in January. You'd think if the original rumored story is true.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense. If it's just happening now, I think it might be the nail in the coffin. Punk was saying, let's wait until the release date. I know I'm going to be in it, but let's wait to put them through this to put them even more in discomfort, I'll say. Kind of wait until the last second and say, no, you can't do that, just to screw them up.
I had heard something from Jim Ross. He had made mention, maybe it was on the podcast. I think it was on his podcast. That he had said something about he doesn't think AJ Lee is going to be around much longer, and for obvious reasons. So read into that what you want.
That's interesting. All right, well, let's move on here. Before we get into the return of Promo Mania, I want to discuss one other thing that happened in the NFL. I don't know if y'all are aware of. This is a controversial subject. The Ray Rice thing, obviously, we talked about last week, but the new thing this week is Adrian Peterson, all-pro running back, in trouble, deep trouble for beating they say just one, but apparently there may be a second one of his children with a switch, which is apparently like a tree branch. Some people have come out on Facebook and on Twitter and defended Adrian Peterson, said that's how they were raised, blah blah blah. Personally, I don't have kids, but me not having kids now, I don't think it's right to strike a child, an innocent child, with a switch or whatever. You know, maybe once in a while, maybe a light spank, but I don't even know if that's okay. But anyway, I wanted to get your guys' take on the Adrian Peterson thing and how does it compare to the Ray Rice thing. I'll just leave it up in the air. Who wants to chime in? I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, as it is a sensitive subject.
Well, I'll go first, and quite frankly, the Ray Rice thing, the NFL screwed that investigation up, quite frankly. But with Adrian Peterson, none of us have kids, quite frankly, and we have to, it's like more of like a gray area, quite frankly, but it's just a borderline thing where you have to ask yourself as a parent, how do you discipline your kids these days? If you give them a whooping these days, then you get in trouble for it. So you have to be careful nowadays on how you can discipline your child, and
Yeah, you have to be a very. So I mean, you can give a slap, but you can just do like one of these, right, Justin? Like what?
Oh yeah, the skims. Yeah, the skimmers. Anyway, it is what it is. But I don't know if I want to investigate this anymore. But
well, anyway, this is a depressing stuff. Okay. Are we doing any iPhone talk?
Yeah, Drew.
Are we talking about the iPhone? Because I thought we were talking about the damn iPhone. Mr. Lane, Mr. Z, we all said we were going to talk about the iPhone, and all I hear about is wife beaters and child beaters.
Hey,
can we raise the mood in here? Can we raise the mood?
Well, to answer your question that was posed to me earlier in the day, I believe one of the horsemen, I think it was Mr. Rue, asked if any of the other horsemen pre-ordered their iPhone. To answer that question, no, I did not pre-order my iPhone. I will be getting one for Christmas, though, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, to answer my own question, I just came from the Verizon store. I was there a little earlier this evening because I've been having some trouble with my iPhone 5, and instead of waiting, I am due for an upgrade. So I pre-ordered it, and I pre-ordered the iPhone 6, not the big boy, the original size one. So the iPhone 6 is on the way. This guy's going to be retired.
Did you get a due date?
Well, they said, just to cover their butt, they said like second week of October, even though it comes out
pretty good
Friday. Actually, they told me, they gave me an option. They said, well, you can get here on Friday, but people camp out on Thursday. I'm like, no, I have a job, I can't, and I wouldn't do that anyway. So just send it to me. So they're going to send it in the mail probably in a week, I would guess. But they said a few weeks just to cover their Verizon butts.
Right.
Mr. Lane, does iOS 8 come out tomorrow?
That's a good question. I believe it comes out on Thursday, I think it is, the 18th.
The 18th, gotcha.
It comes out on the 18th. I had a question for Ryan. You just said you had an iPhone 5. Now, was your iPhone 5 part of the recall that Apple did like about last month? Because they had a recall on the iPhone 5 for battery purposes. See, if you had bought the iPhone 5 during a certain period, I forget which specific period it was, you could get like your battery replaced on the spot or something like that. That's what I was told.
No, mine wasn't part of that. I don't have a 5C. This was an original 5, and
right.
So no, I wasn't part of that. I will say that I went to the Verizon in Williamstown, Mr. Lane's hometown, and they took care of me very swiftly and accurately, and very fine associates working at that Williamstown Verizon, or Turnersville, Williamstown, whatever you want to call it.
Just an update. We did have a viewer tonight on YouTube. Mr. Stephen Page comments in, Matt Castle sucks. We just posted that comment there on YouTube.
Well, his Patriots whooped up on the Vikings. I mean an Adrian Peterson pun there.
Oh, wait, he also commented... Stephen commented, Roof TV not being Smiley Gibbons. I believe that R-Truth is Ziggler's stunt double over that. That's a good.
Anything about Smiley Gibbons? I don't have any comments, Stephen. I don't know about that woman.
Are we gonna do Promo Mania?
He also said Yankees suck. I know the Red Sox are out of it, but we're still the champs for another month. H Guy 2004 here. Steve, you're watching here. We just got your messages, so hope you're doing well and glad you're watching. We'll get you on the show soon. So, Z, Promo Mania. I mean, to be honest, we're coming up on 10. Does anybody have Promo Manias they would like to do? I don't really have one. So.
Let me make a suggestion. I don't think I'm in my voice for Promo Mania. All I want to do is I want to hear. It's been a couple weeks. I want to hear some Rusev Lane right now. Darn it, Rusev Lane. Tell me about the new iPhone 6. Are you going to pick up the iPhone 6, Rusev Lane?
No. Rusev will not get an iPhone yet. No.
Mr. Rusev Lane, is it because in your native Russia they do not have iPhone 6, Rusev Lane?
I don't want iPhone 6 right now. Don't want it.
Rusev Lane, are you an Android guy?
No, Z, no.
Rusev Lane, what did you have for lunch?
Well, I just ate salad earlier. I ate salad.
Rusev Lane, did you ever make out with Lana?
No comment, Ru. No comment, Ru. No comment on Lana.
Rusev Lane, what color underwear does Lana wear?
No comment there, host. No comment.
All right. Any more questions for Rusev Lane before we sign off?
Rusev Lane, would you rather date Sable or one of them Funkadactyl girls?
I am happy. None of the above. None of the above, Ru. Lana is my woman.
All right.
Good answer. All right, I think that's it for Rusev Lane. Thanks for joining the show, Rusev Lane.
No problem.
Rusev Lane, do you know the Russian national anthem? Can you sing a little bit of it for us?
No Russian anthem right now.
You sound Jamaican now.
What about the introduction song? How does the introduction song go?
No, it. Coffee keeper.
Rusev will not sing national anthem. No.
Will you sing anything? Like Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Rusev will crush.
How about a rendition of Rusev Had a Little Lamb?
No.
All right, we're not getting much from Rusev Lane tonight. All right, maybe next week we'll come back and Rusev Lane will be...
Maybe next week Rusev has to charge batteries for himself.
All right, charge those batteries, Rusev Lane. How about Rusev Ru?
Rusev, wait, let me talk
never mind, that was stupid. I was going to say if you had a Rusev Ru, but, you know. I don't know if you wanted to do next week Promo Mania, if you wanted to square off Rusev Ru versus Rusev Lane.
I think that's a hell of an idea. If you give me a couple days to practice, I think
you need a lot of practice.
You need to run for his money because he's held the Promo Mania belt for like over a month or 2 months.
He's the CM Punk of Promo Mania.
Yep.
I used to be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we'll get on with the show and our final thoughts. Excuse me. My final thought is going to be regarding beverages. I started the show with this coffee cup and filled with tea, herbal tea. Normally I drink coffee, but I want to just tell the people out there how great tea is. You know, coffee's great for waking up in the morning, smells good, but don't count out tea. Tea is wonderful.
Mr. T?
Mr. Z, I'll pass it on to you.
More personal. Today's my parents' 30th wedding anniversary, so happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. I love you.
Happy anniversary, Zorsies.
Happy anniversary, Zorsies, yes.
Happy anniversary, Z's.
Z. Ru TV.
All right. Well, a couple things. One, I'm looking forward to fall TV coming up. I'm looking forward to SNL coming back. I'm looking forward to Michael Shea, I believe his name is, new Weekend Update anchor. We have American Horror Story Freak Show, which is going to be awesome. Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates as the bearded woman. That's going to be awesome. Freak Show. And then Key and Peele starts in like a week and a half, I think. Jesse,
I didn't know that. Wow.
New Key and Peele starts. Also, I'm gonna drop a news bit on the Horsemen Hangout. On Thursday night, there will be a video coming out from one Vincent Russo, and it's relating to something about Raw. And I think you guys should check it out because it's going to be something very interesting. pyroandballyhoo.com. You know what? I'm not going to drop the bombshell. You have to watch the video and find out. So, also, Rusev TV. I mean, Ru TV. Couple weeks, and we're going to be good to go for 31 days.
31 Days of Halloween at Rue TV on YouTube?
Yeah. Just go to, if anybody watching, go to YouTube and search Rue TV, R-U-E-T-V. It'll be the first one that pops up.
There you go. Mr. Lane, sir, any final thoughts?
Well, quite frankly, I thought the NXT show was excellent. I'll be watching some more WWE Network as soon as we get off here on the power of the PlayStation 4. So I'll be watching some WWE Network here. I'm just going to watch this Monday Night War as the Bret Hart special. So
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to more wrestling action, hopefully on NXT. Hopefully NXT, their show was excellent. I thought it was a very good show. And unfortunately, congratulations to those for winning the East tonight, unfortunately.
Guys, I just wanted to say one thing. Like, what does it say to the state of the product that there's a pay-per-view on Sunday and we haven't even talked about it?
I'll give you one thing, Mr. Zane. I'll make it quick. They ended the show last night with a Mark Henry and Rusev segment. Not only that, but it was an awful segment. One guy, I don't even remember if it was Rusev, I think it was Mark Henry, threw Rusev out of the ring or something like that, and that was it. They were face-to-face. They did a little promo thing. That's how the show ended before the pay-per-view. So I rest my case. It is awful.
I don't think we should even give it the time of day to discuss it. So
I mean, I got they have my $9.99. So again, guess I'm the hypocrite. But
$9.99. They're really.
But it's like I'm buying. I'll wrap it up. I know we got to go. But I feel like when I pay my $9.99, and when Mr. Z and whoever else buys it, Mr. Lane and Jew, we're paying for not only their crappy pay-per-views, which honestly you could take off their pay-per-views, I don't give a crap. I'm paying for the pass when it was good, so I can click any time and watch an old classic Attitude Era Raw or Nitro or these documentaries on the days when it was actually fun to watch. So it's almost like I'm paying for the good old days. So in that sense, I don't.
You're paying to not have to watch the new stuff. You're paying to have the old stuff.
I'm paying to have the old stuff. Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, it's been a solid Horseman Hangout here on the 16th of September. Next week we'll almost be in October. I can't believe it. But wanted to thank the Horsemen for joining us here. Thanks Steven for tuning in and whoever else watches this on YouTube. We get some viewers once this thing's posted, even though we don't have a lot live. But so please keep tuning in to the Horseman Hangout.
Before we go, I'm starving. Mr. Lane, what should I eat?
Eat a salad.
What?
Salad.
What kind of dressing?
Italian dressing, man. Love Italian dressing.
All right.
Italian
dressing, maybe croutons, something in there. So anyway, it's 10:08, past my bedtime. So put those fours up, pals. 4 Horsemen, the power. And I'll see you all next week. Right on.
Woo!
Woo!